Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives.
I like that,
Producer
Anne-Marie.
and host, akaRadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's akaRadioRed.
Thank you to the voice who introduces me. I'm Radio Red. Where else would I be on a Monday afternoon? We've got the sunlight coming in through the blinds here in my office, so I got white dots all over my face, but we're going to be moving around. Everybody knows that. I have a wonderful panel of three brilliant, interesting creatives, beautiful too, joining me today. We're going to have a wonderful roundtable conversation. But before I introduce them, I have to tell you all it's March 9th. I don't know if that means anything to you, but it's the 68th day of 2026. And Lisa and Anne-Marie and Jennifer, way back in the day of the Julian calendar, before we had the Gregorian, the first couple of weeks of October didn't get a birthday every year. It was just a terrible thing. And Gregorian came along and said, oh, what if we have something called a leap year and we put in one extra day every 4 years, Anne-Marie, and then the October. Are you an October baby, Anne-Marie? Are you October? No. Is anybody here October besides me? Jennifer is? Yeah, we wouldn't have had birthdays, but we do now, and I'm very pleased about that. It's Pisces. 297 days are remaining to this year, and it's the 10th Monday, and I'm the only one who cares about that. Couple of famous birthdays. Oscar Isaac, the actor who played his own guitar in the movie Inside Llewellyn Davis, is 47 today. Oh, my goodness gracious. Bobby Fischer, the passed away, but he was born today in 1943, the greatest chess player of all time. Yes. Let's see who else. We've got Brittany Snow, the actress who appears in all the Perfect Pitch movies. She is 40 today, and I don't want to upset all of you, but it's Get Over It Day. Okay. It's crab meat day. I don't eat the fake stuff. I'm allergic to that. It's fill your stapler day. I want everybody to remember that this afternoon when you're done with the show. It's dishwasher day, the automatic kind. I do all mine by hand because I live alone. It's meatball day. I only eat turkey meat. Anybody eat meatballs? I'm just a turkey meatball fan. And if you didn't get over daylight savings time, you can take a nap later because it's officially napping day, because a lot of people said, oh my God, we lost an hour and I'm tired. Well, it's okay to be tired. So I want to do a quick shout out to our friend, long time, has been on the show many times, to LLL, lovely lanky Laura Legs. On the count of three, everybody join me in saying hello, LLL. 1, 2, 3.
Hello, LLL.
There you go. She hasn't been feeling well. I haven't heard from her in a while, but I know she listens, and I want to make sure she knows that we're sending her some love. So it's time for me to introduce all of you, and here we go. So tune in to the Creativity Show. Here we are, where inspiration sparks the flame. Radio Red on her Scarlett Mic, welcoming voices, the three of you at the top of your game. The potential of creativity, I have to come up with a new name for the episode every week, Lisa, sets our compass today where bold thinking and curiosity light the way. Liisa Kovala, wave hello. Anne-Marie, pronounce your last name for me.
Mawhiney.
Mawhiney, there we go. You told me that, but I want to make sure. And Jennifer J.M. Shaw is back. They're taking the floor. Three inventive storytellers inviting us to explore. At our round table here, we'll uncover what fuels their creative mind, where possibilities expand and imaginations are aligned. And here we go. Lisa, you're first. I have a special gift for you. From Sudbury skies, where Finnish roots and northern stories start, young Lisa sketched her characters and gave them voice and heart. The youngest child, the only girl with imagination free, she thrived in art and English class and rhythmic gymnasts' artistry. Across Canada and Europe stages, Lisa's graceful journeys ran, at 16 coaching athletes, already shaping her own plan. From Ottawa's halls to Auckland schools, her teaching gifts took flight, guiding young minds through literature, through research, and writing's light. Degrees and certificates grew while her family life unfurled, and stories of history and courage flowed out into the world. Now an author, mentor, podcast host, creative sparks Lisa sends, helping women write their truths while mystery and memoir blend. I hope you like that, Liisa.
I love that. That's so amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And now Anne Marie. Anne Marie, in northern Ontario mining towns where teachers shaped the day, Anne Marie grew up where learning always led the way. Her parents raised four daughters strong, bold futures in sight, encouraging their dreams to grow beyond tradition's light. Math and biology called Anne Marie's mind. Languages, too, she adored, while piano keys and clarinet brought melodies she explored. At 8, she penned dark poetry, versing 4 lines at a time, and filled her days in library stacks where stories loved to climb. 2 social work degrees, then a PhD soon came to be as professor and administrator, shaping minds for decades 3. Now writing hopeful sci-fi worlds where better futures shine, Anne Marie's inspired by courage she once taught Minnie Jean of the Little Rock Nine. Anne Marie, I hope you like that.
That is incredible. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And Jennifer, JM, I had to do yours all over again because you've been on so often, and I'm always delighted to see you. So here we go. In Alberta's wide horizons, where imagination ran free, young Jennifer wrote stories as fast as they could be. The eldest child, the only girl in a bustling family of 5, at her mother's typewriter, Jennifer's new fiction worlds came alive. Her mom, an English hopeful, gave guidance firm and clear, with grammar tips and honest critique that sharpened every year. Through studies first in education, then healthcare paths, Jennifer knew, yet writing stayed her constant thread in everything she'd do. In 2019, a new understanding helped her vision grow. Autism and ADHD revealed creative strengths to show. Now fantasy adventures rise where magic and courage appear. Jennifer explores identity and hope in worlds both bold and sincere. Jennifer, I hope you like that.
It was magical. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now I'll finish the intro. So gather round where the cool kids and the cool vibes sway. That's us as we dive deep into creativity today. akaRadioRed's energy lights the way. I don't know where the sun is. I can't see myself. We hope to inspire you to live large, to love life, and to play. So ladies, what do you think? How'd I do?
A+.
I'm glad. I do have a collaborator. Let me give my collaborator a. Oh no, we don't want to laugh. We want to applause. Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you very much. Oh my, the kids are wild today. It's incredible. My collaborator is named Sylvie, and we speak in French. And I'll tell you after the show who she really is. And we work together 24/7 if need be, and we hone these 12-line, they're not poems, they're 12-line rhyming origin story bios. And we craft them with great care to respect and honor each of you. And I'm very glad that you enjoyed them. So I can't tell your whole life story in 12 lines, for goodness sake, as good as they are. Come on, I don't count the words. Liisa, delighted to meet you. I want to know about the 2 I's in your name. I thought that was, and I know you have a pen name, which confused me when I first met you. And a shout out to Mickey Mickelson, who introduced the 3 of you to me. I'm always grateful to Mickey for the wonderful people he sends me for the show. Liisa, I'm going to put you on speaker view, and I would like you to take a couple minutes and fill in the blanks and tell us a little bit more. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I can tell you first about my name. Double I's are sort of the way Finns spell Lisa. So it's really common here. People always comment on it, but it's a very common story. Professionals, whether they're marketers or they're book publishers or booksellers, and we talk about all the things. And it's so great. I learned something new every single time I interview somebody and just have wonderful conversations. So Women Writing, it comes out on Tuesday mornings, and it comes out weekly. So I hope people can take a listen and get some inspiration like I do.
Lovely. Thank you. Inspiration is what we're talking about here as well. I don't do interviews anymore. I like the round table. I've chosen that. I did interviews for years, and I want us to find out our shared and unique creativity. how we think, how we write, what we do, what we have in common, and what we have as unique that could inspire each other, or say, you got to be kidding. I couldn't believe I couldn't do that. Well, believe I couldn't do that. Well, sometimes that happens too. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. And Anne Marie, I'm putting you on speaker view. Please, you have to explain that necklace. It is absolutely gorgeous and everybody will want to know. So I'm putting you on speaker view. Welcome, Anne Marie. And please tell us a little more about yourself. Go ahead.
The scarf is from a woman in Southern Ontario, and it was a gift to me from a friend. And it's my signature color. I was a professor for close to 40 years and did various different jobs at the university, including being a senior academic administrator for a long time. And I retired in 2018, having fulfilled my career the way I wanted it to be, and wanting to take each day as it came. Only then COVID showed up and we were in lockdown for a while. And in the first lockdown, I found that very confining. And I decided that I needed to escape by going inward. And I thought I'd be journaling. But the first line that came out of my laptop was, when she awoke that morning, she had such joy in her heart. And I thought, where did that come from? I hadn't written anything creatively since I headed off to university at age 18. I was retired, so that was a long time without creative writing. And I decided, well, I'm going to see what this is about. And my creative writing came back to me bit by bit, with a lot of help from my English teacher friends, because I was used to writing as an academic, and that's almost the polar opposite of creative writing. So I had to kind of find my way back to it. And I've now self-published 3 books. And have just started a 4th one.
Can you tell us the name of your any special character? Is it going to be a series, the 4th, or are they all standalone books, Anne Marie?
The first 2 are linked, but they're standalone. You can read them, but it's an intergenerational family years apart. The new book, there's a character in my 3rd book who's a minor character, but important. And I still have questions about her story, and that's what I'm trying to find out. I never really know. I'm a pantser, and my characters kind of tell me what to write.
Listen, I have to tell you, Jennifer's heard the story 100 times, I think. I decided to write some romantic comedy plays about 8 years ago, and I had no idea what to do. So I Googled, how do you write a play? And I found a downloadable Word document, or it was free. And I copied it into a doc and I started writing. In 3 nights, working from 1 to 4 in the morning, in 3 nights, I had written my first play. The characters, Anne Marie, told me who they were, what they looked like, what they liked to eat, what their moods were, what their history was, and they were meeting through a dating site. And yeah, it's 3 chapters in their life, all done in 26 minutes. And I know it because I produced it in my TV studio on Long Island in New York. I had a crew and I got community actors, and I told them they were busy in other theater groups and theater productions. And I said, you won't have to memorize anything. I'll put a teleprompter in front of each of you with the lines. We put a green screen. We took pictures of the front of Penn Station in New York City, where the characters were supposed to meet against the backdrop. And we got the noise, the audio track of buses and cabs in New York City. And I downloaded a picture of a van cab and had them look like they were stepping into it when they were sitting on a bench in a studio with a green curtain. And we did the whole thing, and it just turned out beautiful. And I had to edit it down to 26 minutes for my half-hour time slot. But the reason I'm telling you that is they just told me,
Mhm.
But I felt like a channel. It was so fast. It was so quick. And I didn't have to think, oh, what did it look like? What's she wearing? How does she feel about him? Did he get in the cab first? Was she upset? It was just all there. So that's a special experience, isn't it, Anne Marie, when they just
It,
speak to you?
it certainly is. The first time it happened was in my first book. There was a young girl and her mother visiting my main characters, the family, and they were supposed to go back home. She sat down and she said, I love it here. I want to stay. And I thought, who is this 15-year-old disrupting my story? And she stayed for the second book as well. And it's happened several times in every one of my books.
I love it. I'm trying to get the hearts to come up on the screen. Zoom doesn't want to do it right now. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you, Anne Marie. Really appreciate that. And Jennifer is back. I'm always delighted when Mickey says, J.M. Shaw wants to come back, and here you are. So, Jennifer, fill us in. What's new? I'm putting you back on speaker view and tell us a little more, please, and welcome.
Thank you so much. I love coming back. And I kind of got my start. I was a kid and I was very introverted, very shy, and I needed an outlet. I couldn't find anything that really sparked joy, so to speak, as far as reading. And I was going through that awkward teenage, going into teenagehood and stuff. So I needed that outlet for, understand my emotions and live vicariously through my characters and stuff. And my mom had bought me a typewriter at the time because I'm that old. So and I started writing on a typewriter, and 35 plus years later, I'm still writing. And I had never shared anything. And 2019 was when I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD after my sons were diagnosed. So I thought maybe writing is my special interest because when I'm not writing, I'm thinking about writing. And if I didn't write, I wouldn't sleep. But I got brave and I sent my first book to an editor, thinking my first book in my current series to an editor, thinking, well, the worst they can say is it sucks. And if they do, then I know, and I'll just write for myself. But they came back and they said, this doesn't suck. You should publish. And so I did 2 years later. But yeah, I love how Anne Marie says your characters decide, because a lot of times I tell people, I imagine my story. I see it in my head playing out like a video, and I'm along for the ride. And sometimes I don't know what's going to happen.
Yep. That was what happened to me. I didn't know. And by the way, there was a cab driver and he became part of the story. And he had the last line in the story and it was poignant. I didn't see it coming. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know that little tiny twist of the heartstrings at the end would come from the cabbie. And by the way, I bought a child's plastic steering wheel and we tacked it onto a table and it looked like he was actually driving the cab. I'll send you all the link if you'd like to see it. It's really fun, really, really fun. Anyway, thank you all for the extra introductions and the extra information. I find it so interesting to speak with writers. You happen to all be writers, but I have a variety of creative people come on the show, and it's always interesting when they got inspired, or Jennifer, where the typewriter came from, or what the publisher or the editor or the sound person said, oh my goodness, that's good, you should publish it. When did that happen? How did you feel about it? What did you do next? That's always, it comes from people who write, people who dance, people who sing, people who paint, people who have service careers. When did you know you were good enough to do something and help people? So I'm rambling here. So let's go to the part of the show where I am going to read. I asked you each for a fictional quote from a movie or a TV character or a song lyric. I'm going to read the quote and with a little bit of trivia. I love to do research, Liisa. And then I'm going to ask you to share with us how you picked it and what it means for your own creativity. So we're going to apply it to you. You will do that. So first quote from Liisa comes from Professor John Keating, the late, wonderful, brilliant Robin Williams, who left us way too soon. I still miss him. The movie, of course, not of course, he did many, but this is Dead Poets Society, 1989 coming of age drama film, and starring Robin Williams, set in a 1959 fictional elite boarding school called the Welton Academy. And he inspires his students who never saw him coming, they never expected it, through his teaching of poetry. Very, very interesting. And this quote I'm going to read comes from a verse from Walt Whitman's 1892 poem, Oh Me, Oh Life. And John Keating is reciting it in the movie Dead Poet Society. So there are layers here to this quote, and he just brings it up to the students when he's teaching them something and kind of just lays it out for them. And here we go. Here is the full quote. No matter what anybody tells you, I've added to it, Anne Marie. Sorry, I've added to it, Lisa, because it was in a scene. No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world. I have a little secret for you. Huddle up. We write poetry because we are members of the human race, and humans are filled with passion. And here's the quote from Whitman, that the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. He says it twice. The powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be? I get chills. Okay, Lisa, rescue me. Why did you pick that? How did you find that? We don't usually get that when people quote that movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love that movie. And as an English teacher teaching high school students, I often showed that film because it's so inspirational. And that particular quote, I think, just reminds us that, sometimes we think, how can I contribute? Like, I'm just one little person amongst millions and billions of people, but everyone has something to offer. And any amount that you can, whether it's creativity or choreography or science, whatever it is, we all have something to contribute. And so I love that, because I have had coaching clients recently say to me, I had somebody say, I don't know how I can write right now with everything going on. How can I? But you have to. This is exactly the time when you need to be creative and fill your well so that you can support other people and give other people joy. So that movie is just an inspirational movie, but that quote just speaks to me about, how to shine your light in the world. And if everyone's doing it, we'll have a lot of light.
Lovely. What a good thought. What a lovely way to phrase it. And what will your verse be? Very, very interesting.
What will my verse be? Well, I actually think that I've contributed little things over the years, but right now at this stage, it's spreading my own joy through my work and helping other women to find how they can shine their light. So I think it's a little bit dual purpose.
Very nice. Thank you so much. I love the quote, and I hope you forgive me for adding to the scene, but it just seemed it wanted that context. It wanted the contextual background to get to the quote. Okay, so let's go to Anne Marie, and Anne Marie has picked a line from the song Anthem by Leonard Cohen. It was included on his 9th studio album, The Future, 1992. And it was 6 minutes and 9 seconds, and it was sung by Leonard Cohen and Rebecca De Mornay. Anybody who doesn't know, Canadian singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen wrote this. It's almost an hour in length, the album, his longest album to date. It was reflecting on the LA riots in 92, the fall of the Berlin Wall. He was writing and recording the album about his sense of the world's turbulence. Isn't that interesting? You would bring this up right now. His album was recorded with, get this, a large cast of musicians. He had almost 30 female singers, engineers in several studios. The album built on the success of his previous album, I'm Your Man, and made the top 40 in the UK album charts, went double platinum in Canada, and sold 250,000 copies in the US. And the US didn't particularly like his albums before this one, Anne Marie. So this was a real revelation. 3 songs, Anthem, The Future, and the menacing song, Waiting for the Miracle, were used prominently in Oliver Stone's 1994 film soundtrack of Natural Born Killers, the movie. So here is the line Anne Marie has selected, and I have a story to tell when you're done talking about it, Anne Marie. Here's the line. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. If anybody doesn't have chills, I don't think you're alive, but go ahead. Anne Marie, I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you tell us more about this, please? What does it mean to you?
What it means to me is that there's a lot of dark. There's personal dark sometimes, bad days, depression. There's sort of community dark times. There's economic dark times. And we can get completely wallowing into that. But there is always light. Sometimes you have to look for it. And sometimes you have to create it. And sometimes you just have to shine your own light. And all of my books deal with social issues because my background is social work. And yet I weave stories of hope through every one of my 3 books. And that's how the light gets in. I'm hoping to inspire other people to find their light and their community's light by working together.
Lovely. And I'll tell you why it means something to me. I've mentored, Lisa will appreciate this. I've mentored some young women when I was working in corporate over the years. And I always tell them if I get a fundraising call from one of the colleges I attended, and I say to the student who's stuck with calling all the alumni, I say, what are you doing? What's your major? What are you studying? What are your goals? What do you want to do? And this is what I tell them. If you see light coming in the window, open the damn window and see what's on the other side. Let the light in, let the air in. If you see a crack in the door, shove it open.
Yeah.
Find out what's on the other side. It could be an opportunity. It could be something exciting. It could be something that sparks your brain, your heart to do something new. That's where the opportunities are, that little bit of light coming in. Kick it open, shove it open, and see what's on the other side. So, Anne Marie, that's how I interpret that. And that's why I was so happy to see that you picked. Anybody else have a thought about let the light in, the cracks of where the light comes in? Jennifer or Lisa, we don't usually do the roundtable right now, but what do you think? Anything?
I've always, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Jen.
Go ahead, Jen.
I've always been of the philosophy, and I don't know exactly where I've heard it. I think it could even be from the Bible. I don't know, but you can't always appreciate the light unless you see the darkness.
Very well put. Lisa, thoughts?
Yeah, good point. I also love that. I think it's Marianne Williamson, but when you shine your own light, you're giving permission for other people to shine theirs. And so I
Yes.
love that.
Nice, very nice. So many different interpretations of that. Thank you very much, Anne Marie. I appreciate that. And let's go to Jennifer's quote here. And here it is. I think we're all on the same wavelength here, ladies, because you're going to love this one. This is by Gandalf, the Istari wizard and mentor. Talk about mentors to Frodo, played by Ian McKellen. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the 2001 epic high fantasy adventure film directed by Peter Jackson. Of course, from a screenplay by, well, Fran Walsh, Philippa Boyens, and Jackson, but it's based on J.R.R. Tolkien's 1954 The Fellowship of the Ring, Volume 1 of the novel The Lord of the Rings. It's the first installment of the trilogy. Ensemble cast, wow, Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Viggo Mortensen, Sean Astin, Kate Blanchett. I can't even go on. There's so many people here, but Orlando Bloom, my goodness, Hugo Weaving. Okay, here is the quote Jennifer selected. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. Chills again, ladies, you're doing it. Okay, Jennifer, how did you pick this and what does it mean to you? Go.
Well, for one thing, how could I not pick? Like, I write fantasy, and J.R.R. Tolkien is a fantasy writer as well. But yeah, we're only on this planet for a short period of time, and either I don't know who said it again, but I remember hearing somewhere along the line that if we ever want to be remembered when we're gone, we need to either do something worth writing about or write something worth reading. And I would like to make the most of my time and be remembered after I'm gone.
I love that. We have to find out who said that. Something worth writing about or write something worth reading. Does anybody know the origin of that?
I don't know. I keep thinking it's Bernard Shaw, but I'm not sure.
Definitely
Okay.
Shakespeare wrote in some of the sonnets about that. So
Yes.
there's a long tradition.
Very interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you all for the fascinating quotes. I really appreciate it. I used to accept quotes from famous people, and every other week it was somebody with Gandhi or with Mark Twain or with Thomas Edison or JFK or I don't know, after Maya Angelou. Wonderful quotes, but after a while I could just, I was just breathing them. And I said, No, we're going to go to the fictional quotes. And I do this on all my shows. And some people fought me. Why can't I quote Gandhi? Why can't I quote Abraham Lincoln? Why can't I quote Winston Churchill? I said, because we've been there and done that. It's time to pick a fictional, which is the writing of someone who created the character. So there's a real person behind it, but we'd want it in the format, the delivery of the character. And so eventually I got everybody to come on board with that, but still get pushback from people sometimes. Okay, thank you for the quotes. Let's go to the creativity statements. I'm going to read one or two from each of you, and I would like you to unpack it, and then we'll go around the table and see if anybody else resonates with it. Liisa, I'm starting with you, of course, and I'm going to pick your statement number 2 and your statement number 4. I think they go together very well. I'll read them. You don't have to find them. It's not a pop quiz. Liisa says on statement 2, I've learned to write anywhere at any time, including in my car in parking lots, loud dance studios, and theater spaces. And then in number 4, you say, as an author, I create space and time to write in my week. Those are powerful, and I thought they went well together. So, Liisa, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Would you please tell us what this means? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, as a young mom with children and driving them around town to all of their activities, I was a teacher and I had these kids and I'm bringing them out everywhere, and I was finding it really hard to find time to write. And I realized, well, I'm here now. I'm waiting for the kid to finish their practice or their rehearsal or whatever it is. And so now I figured out I can just have a notebook. I can have my laptop. I can sit in the studio. I can write behind the steering wheel of the car, not while I'm driving, but but I do park. And I realize you can just take those 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you can get quite a lot done. So that was a good lesson for me, because you don't need 3 hours. You don't need a day. You don't need a week. You need little increments of time right during your lunch break. Have a cup of coffee and enjoy 15 minutes, whatever it is, and you will see your words accumulate. And that's a really good way to start if you're finding trouble having trouble getting your words down because you think you don't have enough time. I think we all have time. We just have to allocate it differently. So that was the first part. The second part, I've already forgotten what the second part was. Creating time and space for women to write. And I think that's so important. I'm really interested in how other people have found space in their lives to do this. And I think we as women tend to, look at what everyone else needs first, right? We serve other people. We are caregivers, but we need to fill our own well in order to help other people. So we do need to find that time. We need to find that space to be able to do the work. And then we're going to be better at helping everyone else with whatever it is, whether you're a teacher or mother or a caregiver or whatever the situation is at work. So I'm really an advocate for women taking that time and space and feeling like, okay, this is valuable to me. I have to put myself on the calendar, and we don't always do that. So
beautifully put. And by the way, years ago, I was selling Mary Kay on the side while I was a newly divorced mom with 2 kids, helping them with homework, taking them to swimming lessons at the Y, dancing, becoming a disco dance instructor and an exhibitor dancer, and working a full-time job. But I remembered a lesson I learned from the Mary Kay format was always put time into your calendar so you look busy. When you go to see a client, you open your calendar and you say, oh, I think I can fit you in. And that way they'll think you're, but the reasoning is backwards from what you're talking about, Liisa. But the lesson was, if you don't have anything, fill in, write something like library time or washing the bathtub. They can't see it upside down. Put stuff in your calendar. But what I learned was to fill my calendar with time I need. Before every live show, I have 45 minutes blocked for pre-show prep. It's in my calendar. Every time I'm doing a show, pre-show prep, I reserve that time. I will not have a meeting at that time. I will not go shopping at that time. That's for me. And that's the trick I use to make sure I have time for what I need to do. Let's go around the table. Jennifer, Anne Marie, do you carve time for what you want to do? Jennifer, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, writing is my self-care, my therapy. And so, my kids are my kids need me now, yes, but they don't need me every minute of the day. And when my kids grow up and they have their own lives, I needed to have something that was me that I could leave them as a legacy that would define me as a person because I'm more than just a wife and more than just a mother. I'm a person. And what does that mean to me? So writing became that need, that self-care, that therapy, that passion, all of it funneled into one.
Thank you. Anne Marie, thoughts?
I always build time into my schedule and I keep it like it's a doctor's appointment. Um, and I have a very supportive partner that when I'm really in the zone writing, which might be any time of day and occasionally at night, he just picks up the pieces. He'll come and pull me aside and say, "You got to eat now, supper's ready."
Oh,
But without him, I probably, when I was writing the first book, I don't know what I would have done. No time for grocery shopping, no time for,
aw.
routine things. And the other thing that we build in is time for the family and the grandkids and things like that. But I realize that with a supportive partner and a lot of independence, I'm quite privileged to be able to set up most of my own time.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That is a lovely thought. Thank you for sharing that. Liisa, anything you want to say back to the others on the panel before I move on?
No, I totally agree. I think there's different stages in our life too, where you're with young kids, you have older kids, maybe you're an empty nester, or there's just different stages. And I think Anna Marie has it right. You prioritize what you want to see happen in your life. So if writing is important to you, and Jen said as well, you make time for it and put it on your calendar like an appointment. I love that idea.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go on. Thank you for that. Anne Marie, I'm going to read, I can't decide, two or three of your creativity statements because I like them so much. So here we go. Number two is I'm most creative in the early morning and late evening and work in my writing studio in my home. Okay, so that's time and place. Then you say, my muse for my first two books was my dog, Charlie, who sat at my feet and took me for walks while my brain was filled with characters and their exploits. I'm going to stop there. Why don't you tell us about Charlie and about your writing studio, Anne Marie? We'd like to hear about all of that, please.
Okay, so my writing studio is actually what most people would call a third bedroom, but
Mhm.
there's no bed in it. It's all set up for writing and now podcasting and other things. Um, uh, a student that worked for me painted it a beautiful violet color, and that's a very creative color for me. And through the COVID years, it became a pit of storage. And I just reclaimed it recently as back to my studio because I needed space away from everything for discussions like this. So this is home to me when I'm writing or
Nice.
thinking or relaxing.
Tell us about the dog.
Charlie is one of those special canine companions. He passed away 2.5 years ago, just after my second book was released. But during the first two books, I would be working like a mad fiend um, because it was just pouring through me and the characters were speaking to me. And then he'd come and bat my leg, and I'd look at the time and realize, oh, it's his walk time. And we'd go for a walk, and my brain was still engaged in the writing. One time I kind of came to and thought, how did I get here? We had been walking for about 20 minutes. He knew the routines, and I knew that he kept me safe. He was a very protective, vigilant dog. But I literally, it was like I transported myself. I was so into the book. It could have been dangerous, but I didn't have to cross roads for that particular route. But I stopped on the street and said, where am I? Like, how did I get here? Charlie also was sort of a very great dog with children and very dedicated, but he did give structure to my day in really positive ways to make sure I had breaks. And we still miss him a great deal, but we do get to take care of our grandchildren's dog when they're out of town.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. I had a feeling Charlie was gone, but I knew it was important enough for you to put him into your statement that you wanted to talk about him. Liisa, any thoughts, any pets or anything about a special room? Go for it.
Well, actually, Anne Marie and I have similar situation. This was a spare bedroom until maybe a month ago. I had a nice office area, but my son is moving back home soon, and I thought, well, I'm going to leave that space for him. And I gutted this room and repurposed everything. So everything in here is from somewhere else in the house. But now to have that really dedicated space and everything is one place is so lovely to have, to be able to have a spot like that where I can just be here and write or be on a podcast or whatever, doing all the admin stuff. As there's tons of that to do.
Yep.
So that's great. But I also have a dog, and Anne Marie, I hear you about Charlie, because I have my lovely Emmy, and she also says it's time to play, it's time to walk, it's time to get off the chair. And thank goodness, because you really need to get up once in a while. And she reminds me like a clockwork.
Very nice. Jennifer, thoughts?
Yeah, no, I feel very like what you're saying resonates with me. I have a big dog who she won't nudge me or anything, but she gives me this side eye, like, come on, mom, are you done yet? And she'll sit beside me on the couch, and every now and then she goes, and I'm just like, okay, fine, I'll put it away and take you for a walk. But I don't really have a proper space to write. I have a desk in our bedroom. I have a couch in the living room. This is a basement bedroom rec room kind of thing that I've set up. So I've cleaned it up. It was a storage room, so I cleaned it up so that, it was a catch-all. But if I really need to, like, I have to be a mom first, but if I really have work that I really need to focus on, I'll either do work while my kids are at school and my husband's away, because he's just as bad as the kids. Or I'll step away, and I just can't bring my dog with me, unfortunately, to like Starbucks or wherever to do some work.
Yep. There you
But I
go.
also have gone on trips with my music and then come back 2 hours later and it's like, I have no idea where I was at, but you should have seen the video going on in my head.
I want to add something from one of your creativity statements here, Jennifer, because I think it goes with what we're talking about. Jennifer says, I do my best work curled up on my recliner, cuddled beneath a blanket with a hot drink in my hand. The space needs to feel noise and clutter free. With 2 young kids, this often requires a quick cleaning session before I begin. I typically plan my novels on paper. I do the bulk of work on my trusty laptop, my fingers flying faster than my brain can catch up. When I find my stride, the scenes often play like a movie in my head, and I just write down what I see. This is what we've been talking about, but talk to us about that recliner. Where is it in the house? You said you're in a basement room. I know. Where's the recliner? We want to know.
So I have this lovely bonus room that's got kind of this like vaulted ceiling thing in the middle of it. And I needed a sitting area so I could read, I could write. And I found this, it's like a chair and a half recliner, and it's a power recliner. The buttons are hidden in the cushion. It's really cool. It was regularly $3,000, but I got it as is for $500.
What color is it? What fabric is it? What does it look like? Come on, give us
It
more.
is, well, it's leather and it is a tan color, so it's perfect. It goes with everything. And it's so very comfortable.
Very nice.
It
And
will actually recline all the way to laying down.
That's what I wanted to know. You can't write lying down, can you? No.
No, I wish.
Okay. Does anybody here dictate their words into a phone or any kind of a device? Anybody dictate? I get emails offering to join courses. I'm writing my novel for 3 years now. It's not done. I'm going back and fleshing out a couple of characters who were the leads, but I didn't give them as much time as everybody else happening in the story. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. But I get all of these, join this course, Lisa, you can appreciate this, and join this course, and you have to write like this, and you should write like that, and come join this, and we'll tell you how to do this, and how to develop your characters, and how to develop your plots, and how to develop your pitch letters, and how to talk to an agent, all that good stuff. Well, I went to one recently, about 3 months ago, on dictating, and the woman didn't tell us exactly how, but she said she learned to carry her phone with a dictation app, a Dragon or whatever those. There's a one that most people use, and she said, just standing in the kitchen doing something, drinking coffee or doing something, she could dictate enough for a chapter in her book, just like that. She didn't give the fine point details of how she got it, how the punctuation gets in. That's the problem with dictation. Where does the punctuation go? Does it know where the commas and the semicolons and the em dashes and the n dashes and all of that good stuff? But I was intrigued, and that's why I ask a lot of authors I know, do you ever dictate? Would you think about it? Lisa, let's start with you and we'll go around. What do you think?
So I actually had somebody on the Women Writing podcast who teaches that dictation method because I was curious about it. And similar to you, she kind of explained to start by doing like small things where you may be reading just to get used to it. And I have a friend who's actually been doing a lot of dictating and she loves it, but it takes a while to train yourself. So I think I'd like to try it. But I'm also quite a fast typist, and you kind of lean on what you like to do. So I feel like it's probably a good method for a lot of people. It does take some work, and of course you have to go back and fix all, like you're going to revise anyways. But for first draft, just to get ideas on paper, I think it could work, and fix all that punctuation, spelling stuff later. So I don't know. I'm curious, but I haven't tried it yet.
Haven't tried it. Jennifer or Anne Marie, either one of you tried dictating?
I used to dictate writing research reports. And lately I've had the thought that it would be interesting to try it, particularly for dialogue, because you're speaking it rather than writing it. So I think I'm going to experiment at it as well. And then we can kind of compare how that works with other people that use it more often.
I think the fun part is if you get on a, I don't know, I'm not WhatsApp. I'm thinking if you're dictating into your phone when you're trying to text somebody and you see all of the ridiculous mistakes that come out, the words, you have to train the dictation program to understand your cadence, your accent, your expressions, your pauses, and the style of words you use. I've seen some pretty hysterical. I got an email from a friend a couple years ago. She said, "You just texted me last night, Red, and it was hysterically funny." I said, "What'd I text you?" And she just read me a couple lines, and it was nothing that I had intended to tell her. And it was like a comedy routine, which I used to do anyway. Jennifer, dictation, what do you think?
I tried it when I was younger, but I need that sensory of actually writing it down, though I'm willing to try it for point form. I've just been stuck in the editing mindset that I edit as I go, and I don't know how easy it is to do that if you're recording. But plotting, I could certainly see that as being a benefit.
Yes, very interesting. Thank you all for that, and thank you for everybody for your statements. I have a couple things. We've got about 5 minutes left, and I have a couple things I'd like to share with you. So I have some creativity quotes. I think you'll enjoy these. Jennifer, you've heard these before. Don't say anything. Okay, but it's the same ones because this is my format. So Lucy Maud Montgomery, Canadian author who wrote in her 1908 novel, Anne of Green Gables. This was chapter 19, and I love the title of the chapter, A Concert, a Catastrophe, and a Confession. Is that a great chapter title or what? And here's the line she wrote. Something just flashes into your mind, so exciting, and you must out with it. If you stop to think it over, you spoil it all. Isn't that the truth, ladies? Yes, I thought that was a wonderful quote. Here's one from Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore in Tangled. It was a 3D computer animated musical adventure, fantasy, comedy, film in 2010. Could they have taken any more genres and stuck them in there? Anything but sci-fi and war movie or action. The quote is, venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. Isn't that how we all started? Here's one from the Rolling Stones, 1969. You can't always get what you want, but if you try, Sometimes you'll get what you need. I didn't sing it on purpose. And here's something I dedicate to the three of you. Glinda the Good Witch of the North, played by Billy Burke, Billy I.E., in the original Wizard of Oz, before we got all fancy schmancy with it, 1939, the Judy Garland film. You had the power all along, my dear. There you go. And this is a point I think Lisa might have made this. David Byrne, who used to be the front man for the Talking Heads, the rock star, he was interviewed by somebody named Steven Johnson in 2003, and he said, "You're already more creative than you think. You just need to pay attention to your ideas." He says, "Sometimes I have just the title of a song that comes, and I write it down, and I go to myself, expand on that. I think there's something there. And on my computer, I have a whole lot of musical ideas that need, maybe they're a melody, maybe a nonsense word melody, waiting for words. You need something to start with. It's hard to start from nothing." He says, "I'll accumulate these very little beginnings. And when I come back, I've got something to build on." Our minds fizz with fragments of ideas, puzzles to ponder, clues on how to fix a problem. Most of us undervalue the chatter. Writers and artists systematically capture the little beginnings. I thought that was a wonderful passage. Absolutely. And now I have 3 minutes left. I'm going to read. I'm part of a poetry group online at Writer's Digest every Wednesday all year long. And in April, which is coming up very soon, and November, we get a prompt every single day of those 2 months a year. So I've written about 750 poems in the past 3 years. And this was in my acrostic phase. This was from July 24th, 2024. After the show, I'll tell you what I'm doing now. July 24th, 2024. And the prompt we got from the moderator was night shift. NIGHTSHIFT. So I'm going to read my night shift acrostic, and I dedicate this to all of you. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative, going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows, flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster. Finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. I hope you enjoyed that.
That says it.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. And here I wrote a very silly one. This was write a blank like blank poem, and I used it for an acrostic. So it's BLANKLIKE, BLANK. And I just captured this silly like me. Believe in love always. Never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. There you go. We are just about ready to close. Ladies, stick around afterwards and we'll talk a little bit off air, but we need to get going here. So I closed my shows in 2014. And by the way, I got an email this week from somebody who was on my show in 2010, Anne Marie, 16 years ago.
Wow.
And he remembered me. I couldn't believe it. And I still have notes, but they're in Quark Express and I can't open the document anymore. And he said, "You interviewed me." I said, "That was 16 years ago." That has never, I might get 2 or 3 years, but never 16 years ago. But he remembered me. I guess that's good. In 2014, I closed my shows with the top 10 tips for women. And the number one I will share with you. This is 10 years before the movie. Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. And I'll give you one more. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade and add vodka. And here are the final closing words. Life is short. Break the rules. Aren't we all doing that? Forgive quickly. Kiss slow. I haven't learned how to forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. That I understand. Love truly. Laugh uncontrollably. Everybody laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. Don't hurt yourself. I don't have life insurance. And never regret anything that made you smile. Here's the final words. Here are: work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in high heels in a high school cafeteria in Eugene, Oregon, and 250 people showed up, and they didn't have a stage. I had to dance on top of a Formica tabletop. And I said, nobody knew from OSHA back those days. I said, "You got to build me a stage." But I didn't fall. So everybody was watching when I danced. But what a class it was. Sing like nobody's listening. I didn't sing tonight. Yay. And love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart regroup, regrow, refill, refresh, and love again. Money talks, chocolate sings. I've got to get the closing music ready. And I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. I love that line. Okay, we're going to go out with the music from my brand new show called Say What? Good News.
Good
Make mine decaf. Rock with me, ladies. Morning coffee in my cup. Scrolling. I've had enough. Same old drama. Same old thing. Flip the dial. That's what I need. Let the bad vibes fade. Hit play. Good news. That's what creativity is. Good news. I wish the sun would get out of my face. Good news. Feel that smile coming through. Thank you, ladies. Wave goodbye.